to get your appointment, we chase for so many days and we follow up with your PA so many days, but we don't get your appointment. But now you are giving your full time for the entire seminar. So that is showing your inclination and your respect for spirituality. So therefore, I would like to just listen your insight that how you get motivated and how much importance you give to spirituality in your life. So I would like to request Sudhanshu sir.
Apan manku samastanku namaskar. Really grateful that you have invited me to share some ideas. I have benefited from the presentation that you just had on aging with dignity. But I would make much of my speech in Odia because I think it's easier to reach out. So I apologize to those who may not fully follow Odia. ମୁଁ ଭାରତରେ ପଢୁଥିଲି ଏବଂ ଇଂଲଣ୍ଡରେ ପଢୁଥିଲି 5 ବର୍ଷ। ମୁଁ ଯୋଉଠି ରହୁଥିଲି ସେଇଠି ଯେତେବେଳେ ମୁଁ ବାହାରିକି ଯାଉଥିଲି ସେଠି ଜଣେ ବୃଦ୍ଧ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଥିଲି ସବୁବେଳେ ଏବଂ ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ରିପିଟେଡଲି ଦେଖୁଥିଲି। ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ମୋ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟିକୁ ଯାଉଥିଲି ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ କରେ ଯେ ସେ ପୁରା ପ୍ୟାଣ୍ଟ ସାର୍ଟ ପିନ୍ଧି ଟାଇ ପିନ୍ଧି କୋଟ୍ ପିନ୍ଧିକିରି ବାହାରିବେ ସବୁବେଳେ ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କ ବୟସ ପାଖାପାଖି 92-94 ବର୍ଷ ସେଇ ବୟସର ବୟସ। ମୁଁ କେବେ ବି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିନି ସେ ଭଲରେ ଡ୍ରେସ୍ ନ ହେଇଥିବେ। କଡ଼ା ଡ୍ରେସ୍, କଳା ଜୋତା, ସାର୍ଟ ଟାଇ ପିନ୍ଧି ସେ ବାହାରିବେ ଏବଂ ମୁଁ ସବୁଦିନ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖେ କାରଣ ସେ ସବୁଦିନ ମୋର ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି ଯିବା ସମୟ ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କର ବୁଲି ଯିବା ସମୟ ସମାନ ସମୟରେ ଜୁଟିଲା। ଏମିତି କିଛି ମାସ ଗଲା ପରେ ଦିନେ ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅଟକେଇଲି, କହିଲି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ କିଛି ସମୟ କଥା ହେଇପାରିବି ଏବଂ ତାପରେ ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଲି ସେ ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟ ବିଶ୍ୱଯୁଦ୍ଧରେ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ କରିଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ତାପରେ ସେ ତାଙ୍କର ଅବସର ନେଲା ପରେ ସେଠି ରହୁଛନ୍ତି କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କ ଜୀବନକୁ ସେ ଯେଭଳି ସଂଯମ ଆଉ ଶୃଙ୍ଖଳତାର ସହିତ ବାନ୍ଧି ରଖିଛନ୍ତି। ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ ସବୁବେଳେ ବ୍ରହ୍ମକୁମାରୀ ମାନଙ୍କ ସାଥିରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ମୋର ଇଣ୍ଟରାକ୍ସନ ହୁଏ ଗୋଟିଏ କଥା ମୁଁ ରିଏଲାଇଜ କରେ ଦି ଏକ୍ସଟେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ physical and mental discipline that you are going through, getting up in the morning, vegetarianism, tapre nishtavasi haba, no ragiba, meditation kariba, all these are ways in which you calm yourself down. Otherwise a person can be very disturbed. One of the things that I do all the time is to believe in what I call the enlightenment spirit. गला 250 वर्ष हेलाणी मनीष समाज बहुत आगे विज्ञान को लेकर बुद्धि को लेकर चिंताधारा को लेकर रीजन और रैशनैलिटी को लेकर आज आम कोविड संगे संघर्ष करुचे कोविड आमको नुआकरी गोटे बुद्धि शिखई आम हुए तो भूली जाइए जीवन को एते क्षिप्र गति रे बंचवार कौन आवश्यकता ना एत तरबर है लाभ ना कारण गति समस्तंकर समान आड़कू बयस निश्चित बढ़िबो असुविधा निश्चय आसीबो। I think somewhere human civilization had forgotten to take care of basic things. That's what COVID has taught us, that go slow, calm down, and that should be a kind of a lesson for all of us. Karana COVID will go in another 3, 4, 5 months it will go. बट जो असुविधा टी आमे सम्मुखीन होइचे देखंतु जेमती आमे जो माने धनी लोक माने अछंती जदि गरीब माइग्रेंट लेबर मानकर असुविधा विषय रे आमे भाबी थांते ताले हुए तो भारत रे जो बड़ी कोविड व्यापिला से बड़ी व्यापी न थांता। आमे दायित्वहीन हेतिले तार फल आमे पाइले से बड़ी परिवेश प्रति आमे जति सचेतन हवा कथा हेले नाही। ग्लोबल वार्मिंग हला नुआ वायरस आसुची तार समस्या आमे देखिले से बड़ी मानसिक शांति मेंटल हैप्पीनेस ता विषय we have never thought. We just think more and more money means more and more happiness. It is not. It is absolutely not, because today the world has a lot of money. The richest country in the world is the United States of America. They have the highest number of COVID positive cases. They have the highest number of deaths. They have suffered the most. Most people have become unemployed there. So it's a very, very clear thing that it's not about money. It's not about money alone. Yes, all of us have wants, all of us have certain economic needs, but beyond that, we have to look after our own well-being. And one of the key component is mental happiness. How do I ensure that my mind is in control? The moment your mind is in control, the rest of the things will be in control. Sister was telling you uh, about food habits. You'll be surprised, some of you, that sometimes when I was studying in college, I decided, "Mo mitha khaibi nahi." And from 1988 till date, I have not taken sweets. Nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing has happened to me. For the last 4 years, 4 years back, I decided I would not take rice and roti because actually they are of no need. It's not necessary. So much of food is not necessary. We take so much of food, we are taking so much of food only in the last 2500 years. Earlier, we were not eating like that. So suddenly we eat a lot. What is COVID? COVID is a disease which has affected people who are overweight, who are diabetic, who have lifestyle diseases. And in order to protect those individuals, we have to shut down the economy. If we have 30 or 40% of our people who, because they cannot control their mind, therefore they cannot control their greed, therefore they will eat a lot, therefore they will not exercise, and all of us will get into trouble. So one of the lessons that you have to learn is, how do I bring a kind of calmness to my mind? Why should my mind need so many things to be happy? And this is becoming a never-ending need of searching for things which are tangible, which are intangible, and never-ending. You get something, you are still not happy. You want more. So there is no end to it. Even if I give you some food, you want some more food. So there is this big conundrum that we all of us are faced with. We have to do a deep introspection. Why did the world get into this trouble? We had almost decided that we are moving towards immortality, which means that all the diseases can be dealt by certain medicines, and we are moving to transplant of organs so rapidly that we were thinking at some stage human beings will live maybe 150 years. As you might have marked, from 1900, every generation is living 10 to 12 years more, which means if earlier in 1900 the total the death rate or the age at which people were dying was 30, it has now come up to 70. It will go up to 90. So all of us have to understand that we will inevitably live longer. It is like this, that you may retire at 60 after 30 years of work, but you will have 30 years of post-retirement life or live as a senior citizen. So if you look at the demographic structure of our population, earlier in 1900, a family would have 8, 10, 12 children. Today it has come down to 1, 2, or 0. Okay, so the family size is coming down, but the population size will stabilize around 2050 or 60, when the population will show a negative growth, like in Japan. Why then population is not decreasing, even though family size is decreasing? Even though birth rate is decreasing, population is not decreasing because people are living longer. Earlier people were dying at 50, now people are dying at 70. So they're living 20 years more. And note this very, very statistical fact, that every generation is living 12 years more than the previous generation. Okay. So if Dadi died at 104, the next Dadi may die at 116. It's something like that. this is going to be a process where we will live longer and longer. So it is necessary to prepare for this long journey, this marathon, this long journey. Otherwise, life can become absolutely difficult. So meditation, certain spiritual activities, training your mind, taking some little exercises. This is how you have to train your mind. One of the things I will add to what you have already heard is digital literacy. Now, you might be seeing that the world is rapidly changing. Technology is rapidly changing. Only way you can keep in touch with your near and dear ones, people who will migrate all over the world. Every family in Nayapalli today has somebody living in America or Bangalore or somewhere. And we have all been separated by COVID. No one is able to meet anybody. But we are continuing because of our familiarity with technology. And this technology is going to rapidly change. Do not stop making yourself familiar with technology. Don't say, Motte asibani pila gudako se karibo. Ke pila asibeni. You will have to be comfortable with technology. Because that is a new way you have to live. So calmness of mind, certain degree of digital literacy, and a degree of self-discipline. If you can do all these, then I am sure it will be possible for you to live this long journey, to go through this long journey of life in this world in a smooth and in a much more dignified manner. As far as the police is concerned, we are seeing that Bhubaneswar is becoming a senior citizen capital of Odisha. Anyone who retires anywhere, any Odia who retires anywhere, comes back to Bhubaneswar. And we are happy for them to come because they want to live the last part of their life among near and dear ones, to talk to friends, to have some kind of friendship and fellowship, which is inevitable. We have nearly 26,460 citizens who are registered with us. During the pandemic, we try to reach out to them. We keep visiting them. Many police stations have provided them help in terms of providing them insulin, providing them ration, and whenever they call up, the police station is somewhere they call up. We have tried to look after them. We took out a booklet which we circulated. We told them that you are more at risk because of your age, and there are many senior citizens who have got infected. We are trying to help them out. So this is always there. We will try to help from our side. I look forward to interacting with you in normal times. I'm sure you realize you have enough time. You keep reading. Reading is another thing you should never give up. One standard trick could be read one book a week. Make it kind of a point. One book a week. And it is like when you read a book, you are interacting with some of the best brains in the world. And today, a book is published anywhere. Within 7 days, it can land up in your table. Take out some money for books. That's very, very important. Good reading so that you keep track of what's happening in the world. Bit of self-discipline, bit of walk, and you will have a much more dignified life. Do not get involved in petty matters. I have senior citizens coming to me because they have had fights among themselves. They get divided into two. So one society, the senior citizens will be divided into two groups, each one trying to foist a criminal case against the other. At what age can you stop getting into these disputes? At some stage, you have to say, enough is enough. I have seen enough. Let me withdraw from these complications. Make my life simple, straight. Simplicity makes your life calmer and better. The more complicated you make your life, the more complicated you make your day's routine, the more difficult it is. Have a very simple, straight routine, adhere to that. And please understand, because I did my post-graduation and PhD in psychology in University of Liverpool in England. One of the things that we always tell our people when we do counseling is that you can change, provided you are aware, Change of habit requires 90 days, right? If you want to become a vegetarian, you have to practice it for 90 days, and then you will give up your urge for having non-vegetarian food. Similarly, give up oil, give up rice, give up sweets, learn to walk, get up in the morning, meditation, adopting any habit, making any good changes to your lifestyle requires efforts of 90 days. That's kind of a Lakshman Rekha that we call in psychology. So, if you want to adopt a few things, give up a few bad things which you realize that it's bad, let me give up, you can always do it. Human beings are the only animals, let me use the word animals, in this universe who can learn till death. Right? Every other animal gives up learning after 2 or 5 days or 10 days. Most animals give up immediately after birth. Their mother tells them how to survive and they survive. If the atmosphere changes, they will die, but they will not be able to learn. If cow survives with grass. If there is no grass, then cow will not learn to eat something else. Cow will die. But human beings have this amazing ability of learning continuously. If there is a new disease, they will find a new medicine. If there is a scarcity of one food, they will find some other food. So this is the ability to innovate, to be creative, our cognitive ability, our mental ability to learn. So it is never late to learn in human life. That's the beauty of human mind. Otherwise, human beings are no different from any other animal. The only thing that differentiates us is our tremendous mental ability to learn. Learn. Or as I use the word agile learning, your ability to learn always, continuously, from every situation, from every person you meet. I would stop actually because there is some other meeting at 5 o'clock. It has been a real pleasure interacting with all of you. You know, we are struggling with COVID. We have nearly 1,600 police personnel who are infected with COVID. Fortunately, 80% of them have recovered. There were some police stations where 30, 35, 40 people were infected. Now they're all joining back, but still challenges remain. We are fighting hard. We are trying to help people as much as we can. Our reputation may not be the best, but I can tell you, if there is one organization in the government you can look up to for help anytime, it is the police. Day or night, rain or storm, give a call and some policeman will respond. And they will respond despite the fact that the media and so many people keep blaming the police all the time. Our people know that it's a thankless job, but they keep helping. And during the COVID time, it has been a tremendous discovery. People have given us their love and respect without we asking at all. They've been really good. They have been so kind. They have been so kind to us that we are really grateful to all of you, and also the senior citizens, the overwhelming support and love that you have given us. I commit myself all the time to service of humanity, to help you all. We have very straightforward, honest lives. Sudipta madam might be thinking we have a lot of money. Actually, not true. We were actually working with 50% salary for the last 6 months. From last month, we have been given full salary. It is not very sort of money-wise, very big job, but then you do get opportunity to help out people and to derive a degree of personal satisfaction. I live a very frugal life, and my regime is very structured and scheduled. My food is decided by a dietitian. I don't decide, because I think if I start deciding, then I will develop the greed to eat more and more. So I have outsourced it to a dietitian who decides what I'm going to eat today. So there is a diet chart, there is a time, and I follow time and absolutely disciplined way of living. That has helped me to maintain a degree of calmness, though it's very disturbing. I live in a stormy, weather. But despite this storm around, I try to maintain my calmness. I look forward to interacting with you. Thank you so much, Sudipta, madam. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Very true, very true. Whatever you said, your knowledge is actually a self-demonstration. Yeah, it's not theoretical. You yourself is the self-demonstration of all the discipline that you have been preaching right now. And sir, I have just one question. Just before just ending your sessions, because you are completely aligned with the spirituality, the spiritual requirement and knowledge, and you definitely believing that all the criminals, they are emotionally ill, they are emotionally sick. So are you doing any regular thing for their emotional healing with the help of spirituality or your kind of knowledge for their emotional healing for the criminals that right now you are having?
So basically, the prison system remains separate from the police.
Okay.
But I know in several prisons, activities have started. Also, your organization is doing a lot of good work. Um, Actually, you are very right. Many people condemn individuals as criminals, particularly media and the film industry, and never bother to go and try a healing process. In fact, the only organizations I have seen trying to do so are religious organizations like the Brahma Kumaris who go to these prisons and then start um, some kind of a dialogue with these people. And often they are very, very helpful. They calm these individuals down. Uh, but crimes have different psychological instincts. One aspect is emotion or expressions related, feelings related. But there are another other set of crimes which are absolutely related to domination. We call them instrumental reasoning. So you have affective and instrumental. Affective is somebody gets angry, or someone is in love, or he's trying to express his emotions in some way. But affective would mean someone is trying to extort money. He's trying to use criminality to make money, basically. That is a completely different kind of approach to life. It's very difficult to deal with people who are using crime as an instrument of achieving something else through a process of psychological support. But those who are disturbed emotionally and are committing various crimes. Today, we had this incident in front of the assembly or outside the assembly gate where a young man, 22 years, he held his mother hostage. And our officers did a brilliant job, very calm, quiet manner. They waited for this guy to calm down and then neutralized. Look at how the media reports it. They say now, why did the police take so much of time? Well, they are expected to take time. They have to calm this guy down, otherwise the woman will be killed. And the woman is the mother of this child, and she got the son for medical treatment. So I was absolutely astonished. And the other astonishing part is around the world, there is a restriction on anyone who is mentally disturbed. If you know the person is mentally disturbed, you don't show him in the TV. You don't try to cover him because he does not know what he is doing. Okay. So you need to have a degree of understanding that he is not really a subject of a television program to show to the whole world that, look, this guy is mad. He's unwell. He needs medical care. He needs counseling. So because of the kind of sensationalism that we are carrying out, we often treat criminals as subhuman, as someone who do not deserve human treatment. So I think as there is a scope for a lot of collaboration between organizations like Brahma Kumaris and the law enforcement agencies to work among youth, particularly in the slums of Bhubaneswar, where there is a problem of drugs, and we are fighting every day. We do a seizure, but that's no end to it. The youngsters who are unemployed, educated, we need to involve social organizations and NGOs much more. And whenever they come forward, we involve them. When the issue of drugs came, there are 17 or 18 organizations that came together. But I immediately found that they're asking us for money. That's very difficult. Then it becomes a different process. So whereas in your organization, you have a large number of volunteers, a large number of people who want to provide that service, provided we facilitate. So we require more of these voluntary efforts and community workers, community leaders, youth leaders. We have to create youth leaders who then provide leadership in those slums and areas. So there is a lot to be done.
Thank you, sir.